Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar on ISO 14001 2026 Environmental Management System Transitions. With you, I'm Saji George. I'm a lead auditor for various standards, including Quality Management System, Occupational Health and Safety, Business Continuity Management System, Information Security Management System, and also GHG, and of course, the Environmental Management System. That is what today's subject is. We will be reviewing the key changes introduced in the ISO 14001-2026. We will understand their practical implementations and implications. And also we will be discussing what the organizations need to do for a successful transition from ISO 14001-2015 to ISO 14001-2026. This webinar will be useful for everyone, even if you are an EMS manager, internal auditor, environment management system professionals, consultants, or a top management representative. This webinar will help you to understand the transition requirement and to prepare your organizations accordingly. So before we get into the actual content and subject of today's webinar, let me give you a brief about KBS, who is organizing this webinar. KBS is a global organization specializing in certification, training, inspections, sustainability, climate change services over past several years. And during these past several years, we have supported thousands of organizations in improving their management system and meeting the international standards. Our operations spread across India, UAE, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, Korea, Vietnam, which has enabled us to support the clients across very diverse industries, including manufacturing, constructions, healthcare, oil and gas, food, logistics, hospitality, and government sectors. So our objective is not merely to issue the certificates, but we help the organizations to build systems that improve their business performance, manages their risk, ensuring better legal compliance, and also to enhance the sustainability. Our major service areas include, of course, the ISO management system certifications. We are also very renowned approved training partner of CQ and IRCA. We do conduct energy audits, we do conduct safety audits, environmental audits. We also provide the ESG and sustainability services, wherein we do the validation and verifications of carbon footprints, and also we do the product and certifications, product certification, and also the inspections. With the sustainability becoming a strategic priority worldwide, organizations increasingly require integrated solutions covering quality, environmental performance, occupational health and safety, climate change, and ESG reporting. KBS provides all these services under one roof. This experience has allowed us to understand not only the requirement of various ISO standards, but also the practical challenges organizations face while implementing those standards in their organizations. So today's webinar is based on that practical experience that we have gained, and we will be focusing on how organization can successfully transition from ISO 14001-2015 to ISO 14001-2026. Now that you have understood who we are, that is KBS, let us briefly understand why the organizations choose KBS as their certification and training partners. As I have already explained, KBS is a trusted name, a renowned name in certification, training, and sustainability related services. Our key strength lies in global experience in the field of quality, environment, health and safety, and sustainability related services. We are also having the international presences, as we have explained in the previous slide. We are CQR approved training partners. We have expertise in various ISO standards, ESG, and sustainability reporting. We have a team of highly competent and reliable the personals. We assure the confidentiality of the data of the clients, and all these services, the reliable services, we provide under the cost effectiveness and not compromising on the customer satisfaction at all. So today's agenda, we will be covering certain topics, that is why the changes have occurred, why the ISO 14001 2015 has been revised to 2026. What is the reason behind it? And what is new in ISO 14001 2026? What are the key changes? What is the timeline for the transitions for the organization to get certification on the or acquire certification or obtain certification on ISO 14001 2026 standard? What will be the impact of the changes in the environmental management system of the organizations? What are the steps that an organization need to follow or undertake to comply with the requirement of the new standard, right? And obviously, no changes comes without any challenges. So there will be common transitional changes that we will be challenges that we'll be discussing, and what you can expect from the audits perspective, like auditors, what the certification body will be would like to verify additionally when it you compare it with the previous standard. Okay. So also there will be some minor documentation changes that we will be discussing. And overall, no organizations is as we said is going to or fully implementing only one standard. There will be various standards with which the ISO 14001 will be integrated. So in the event of integrations, what are the steps that the organization needs to follow? That also we will be discussing in brief. Lastly, we would be having some time for question and answer. You can you're free to ask questions through the text mode. We will be happy to answer those questions. Now, the reason for changes. ISO has revised the 14001 2015 standard to ISO 14001 2026 to ensure that the organizations can respond more effectively to emerging environmental challenges. So the world as such today faces issues which are attributed to environmental factors, environmental conditions, such as climate change, biodiversity loss, water scarcity, scarcity of natural resources, ecosystem degradations, and increased stakeholders' expectations. As we know that talk of today's world is all about the climate change sustainability. So the previous version of the ISO 14001 standard was not that aligned with the trend of today's conditions or today's requirement. Therefore, the standard had to be reviewed and revised to have an enhanced clarity and consistency of the requirement of various other related standards like ISO 14064, etc., etc. The standard has been strengthened in terms of the change management. Therefore, we would be discussing that there is a new clause which has been added to the standard. Also, the concept of life cycle and supply chain considerations that has been brought into the standard with better clarity. Life cycle perspective, anyway, it was there in the standard, but now more clarity has been provided in the standard, which needs to be followed by the organizations. So this standard is now better aligned with the sustainability and ESG expectations with certain changes. So that has resulted into imposing greater or bigger responsibility and accountability on the performance of the environmental management system on top management. This standard, as known as a framework, will help and support the organizations in enhancing their environmental performance and achieving better environmental objective outcomes and resilience. So what is new in the ISO 14001 2026 standard? The concept of environmental condition has been introduced in the context of the organizations. If you are aware about the ISO 14001 2015 standard, I'm sure that you will find this environmental condition word in the clause number 4.1. It is there already. But the explicit terminologies such as pollution level, scarcity of the raw materials, climate change, biodiversity was all not there. So therefore, the first three topics that you can see on your screen, environmental conditions, the greater focus on the climate change, biodiversity and ecosystem considerations, has been explicitly brought into the clause number 4, that is a context of the organizations. Also, the other change that you can feel is that the clause number 6, that is the planning, wherein the risk and opportunity related requirement was specified in the clause number 6.1.1, that was general. Okay, so now that has been extracted and incorporated in the clause number 6.1.4, and also a new requirement, new clause has been added to the standard, that is 6.3, that is for the planning of changes. So the resultantly, the number of clauses in the clause number 6.1 was 6.1.4 earlier. Now it is 6.1.5 as well because of the introduction of the clause number 6.1.4. Okay, so 6.3 is anyway is there. That is a new addition to the clause number 6. Also in the clause number 8, that is the operational control, right? Since one of the terminology that was the control of the outsourced processes, now that has been renamed as the control of externally provided resources, which is in alignment with the other standards like quality management systems, etc. See it is better in better alignment with the NXSL. Okay, so that change is there in the operational control measures. That is very minor changes. And in the clause number 9.2, that is the internal audit. In the sub clauses, there were requirement of having criteria and scope defined for each audit. Now that particular sub clause has been revised to add a terminology that is the objectives also. So for each and every internal audit of not only the scope, not only the criteria, but also the objectives, audit objectives also has to be added. Management review clause, that is clause number 9.3. Now that has been restructured we will be discussing in detail. That is, the 9.3 has been restructured to have 9.3.1, 9.3.2, 9.3.3 as well. So these are the structural changes. And also the structural changes are there in the clause number 10. That is the improvement. Previously, there used to be the 3 subclauses. Now only 2 subclauses are there in the clause number 10 also, right? So now the key changes, as we said, the environmental condition has been explicitly defined in the clause number 4. So there are various parameters related to it: climate change, the water scarcity, quality, the pollution level, that is mainly the air quality, or even the water quality, or ecosystem, the degradation or biodiversity losses, etc., etc. Definitely, this parameters is going to have the business impact, and for that reason, the environmental management system also have to, arrange, adjust it by having the risk assessment in terms of various the climate change, or even the water the scarcity, or having the objectives defined against each and every the environmental conditions that you can see on your screen. Okay, so with that, what are the clause wise changes which has been made in the ISO 14001:2026 is that clause number 4.1, the organizations need to understand that the broader context analysis has to be done, including the climate change, environmental conditions, etc., due to which the organization's environmental management system or organization's operations can be affected, and also how this various the climate change or other environmental conditions can affect the other organizations or other stakeholders as well. So therefore, in the clause number 4.2, the organization needs to have a deeper analysis, in-depth understanding of the requirement of various the other interested parties in terms of these parameters, climate change, or pollution level, or biodiversity, the losses, or the ecosystems, etc. And what are the environmental expectation from various other interested parties. Okay, so the clause number 5, yes, there are no such no changes defined, or new addition or no requirement specified in the clause number 5, but since the contest has to be deeper, therefore it puts a greater responsibility, bigger responsibility on the leadership to understand and and adopt the strategic, revise their strategy for the implementation of the environmental management systems. As I've already told you in the clause number 6.1, the risk and opportunity has been extracted from the 6.1.1, which was defined in 6.1.1, now in the general category. Now a dedicated clause has been now brought into the standard. And also in the 6.1.2, that is environmental aspect impact identification, emphasis is more on the life cycle perspective. Life cycle perspective, anyway, it is not new, but more clarity has been brought into the standard in terms of the procurement of the raw material, in terms of the production or the operations itself, and also the transportation, end of life disposal of the products, etc. Okay, so this is 6.1.2. Yes, nothing new, but it comes with more clarity, using which the organization has to determine the environmental aspect and impact. 6.3, that I have already explained, that's a new clause which is there for planning of change, which was indirectly addressed in the standard before. Okay, operational control measures 8.1, why it is impacted? Just for the reason that the terminology of the outsourced processes has been revised to control of externally provided resources. 9.3 management structure. The review meeting structure has been revised, restructured, in fact, and the clause number 10, the improvement clause, has been shortened and restructured as well, right? To summarize the changes, to compare with the ISO 14000 2015 and 2026 versions, you can see that previously in ISO 14001 2015, there used to be the 6.1.1 to 6.1.4 clauses. But in 2026 version, you will see that 6.1.1 to 6.1.5. That is because of the addition of the new clause, that is 6.1.4, which was planning of the change, the planning, the action planning. Now that has become the risk and opportunity. So the organization has to have more clarity on the risk and opportunity related to the environment. Change management, as I already told you, which anyway was addressed in the standard indirectly. Now specific clause has been added, that is clause number 6.3. Okay, so therefore the well-planned, the changes in the environmental management system has to be adopted, whether it is change of process, change of any raw material, change of any equipment, change of any processes, etc. That has to be well structured, well defined in the according to the standard. In 2015, the clause number 9.3, that is the management review meeting, right? That has been restructured from 9.3.1, 2, and 3. And what is 9.3.1? This is general requirement of the standard. 9.3 is the input to the management review meeting, and 9.3 is the results out of the management review meeting. Okay, and in the improvement clause, that is clause number 10, as you can see in 2015 version, there used to be 3 subclauses, 10.1, 2, and 3. Now in the 2026 version, you can see that there are only 2 clauses, wherein the continual improvement takes place. The 10.1 and 10.2 is the non-conformity and corrective actions. And as I've already told you, there are changes in 4 and 8 also, but those are strategic changes. Those changes in the clause number 4 and 8 is the strategic changes only. There is no structural changes. As far as structure is concerned, the affected clauses are 6.1.1, 6.3, and 9.3 and 10.1. These are the structural changes going to be there in the new standard. Okay. So as far as the impact is concerned, impact of these changes, which are the clauses, which are the requirement, which will have the impact. Not all changes or the requirement have equal impact, right? So the high impact will be on the clause number 4.1, wherein, as I've already told you, the deeper analysis, deeper context of the analysis, taking into consideration the environmental, the conditions, biodiversity loss, ecosystems, pollution level, the scarcity of the resources, and enhanced the depth or understanding of the interest of the various interested parties in the clause number 4.2, and the aspect impact. Now that has to be deeper because life cycle, the concept has to be taken more seriously and with better clarity, right? So that clause also will be majorly impacted. And 6.1.4, yes, now you need to have a dedicated compliance, the evidence on the requirement of 6.1.4 and 6.3, that is a planning of changes. The medium impact will be on the 4.3 because that is scope. As we have already, those who are aware about the ISO 14000 and 2015 standard, when we define the scope, the organization has to take into consideration the requirement which are specified in clause number 4.1 and 4.2. Now, we have seen that there are changes in the clause number 4.1 and 4.2. So we have to consider those the issues, those requirement also when we define or determine the scope. So in that case, yes, the 4.3, the scope will be, no, when we define the scope, that will be affected. In 5.2, environmental policy, yes, that also will be affected because we have to take into consideration the various requirements of the changes in the context of the organizations. And operational control, yes, externally provided resources has to be controlled. So now that control has to be with more clarity, more requirement will be there. For each and every internal audit, objectives has to be specified. That way, clause number 9.2 is also going to be affected, and 9.3. So management review meetings. Now, the management review meeting will be affected for the reason that that will change the way the organization is going to have the documented evidence. The minutes of meeting has to be more structured because obviously the auditors will be asking like, okay, what were the inputs, what were the results out of the management review meeting. So you have to have that the structural changes in within the minutes of meeting. As we have already discussed, yes, 6.2 objectives also will be affected for the reason that objective, when we define the objective, we have to take into consideration the various requirements, whether it is the requirement of the interested parties, the compliance obligation, the context of the organizations, etc. So therefore, we have to review, the organizations have to review the environmental objectives, right? And this implementation of the standard, of course, will require enhance the competence, okay? And therefore, the clause number 7.1.2, 7.1, 7.5 will be impacted for the reason that there are some the terminology corrections here, and that is very important. At least in 15 places in the ISO 14001 2015 standard, in the previous versions, there used to be terminology like organization shall maintain or retain documented information. Now, in the new standard, you will not find this word that organization shall retain or maintain documented information. Rather, you will see that organization shall know or the document shall be available only. So, available documented information is the replacement of the terminology that retain or documented informations. Okay, so therefore, this type of the terminology is there that you need to take to consider. You need to be aware of that. Okay, so available as a documented information, that replaces the combined terminology of retained or documented informations. Okay, and the transition requirement and the timeline, as we know that whenever a new standard is published, the organizations are given 3 years timeline to transition from the previous version of the standard to the current version or the new version of the standard. So what is the requirement? First of all, yes, gap analysis has to be done to understand what are the affected clauses, how does the organizations meet the new requirement. They have accordingly, they have to make a the planning for the transitions. They have to enhance, they have to undergo the trainings on the to understand the new requirement of the standard by their key personnel. Okay, documentation has to be updated, and also organization has to make sure that since the certification on the of environmental management system have to be completed, the transition has to be completed before April 2029, because for the reason that this standard ISO 14001 2026 was implemented in or released in April 2026. Okay, so it does not mean that every organization will get 3 years of complete the transition period. No, because we are already in the month of June. Okay, so already we have covered or lost a couple of months. Okay, so therefore the ordination, not every organization will be getting full 3 years of the timeline, right? And therefore the ordination has to start transition planning as soon as possible. Okay, so therefore the impact on the environmental management system, as we have said, yes, that is the impact will be that our environmental aspect impact, control measure, strategies, etc., will be affected. The risk and opportunity register needs to be revised. Our obligations as far as the compliance is concerned, not only the legal requirement, but also in the clause number 4.2, we have seen that the other than the legal requirement, also there are other interested parties which is related to, or stakeholders which is related to the environmental or ESG, the obligations. So the compliance register will be having the some additions as far as the interest or requirement of various other stakeholders is concerned. Therefore, the compliance obligation needs to be reviewed. That is the register as per the clause number 6.1.3, and also the evaluation of compliance that also needs to be revised. Objectives, the environmental objectives have to be reviewed, right? And of course, since the 2026 version requires the organization to have enhanced environmental performance, therefore our monitoring and measurement requirement strategy or planning has to be strengthened. So therefore the clause number 9.1.1 also will be affected, right? So the practical assessment, yes, the organization has to do the gap assessment. They have to review the documented the informations, train the employee, and operational control measures, because clause number 8.1 have a minimal changes. The internal audits and management review meeting has to be conducted as per the no, as the defined objectives, and also the minutes of meeting for management review meeting, etc., has to be revised according to the new requirement. Okay, so no changes comes no in a very smooth manner. There is always challenges because we are resistant to to changes. Nobody likes the changes, right? So therefore, obviously there will be resistance to the changes as far as documentation, as far as process, as far as strategy is concerned. There will be resistance, right? So and also the that may be due to the lack of the knowledge about the requirement of the standard or the competence, right? The operational control measures, as we have seen, that also needs to enhance. So weak operational control measure may be some of the challenging areas, right? And also, as I said, the terminology has been changed. Some of the additional requirement of the clause number 4. Specifically the clause number 4.1, 4.2. Okay, in that the documents related to those clauses have to be to enhanced, to be strengthened, to incorporate the additional the parameters of the environmental conditions, etc., and additional requirement of the various interested parties. Okay, so therefore these are the transition challenges, right? So as far as audit is concerned, definitely the when the external audit is going to happen. The external auditor will verify whether you had a defined objectives for the internal audits, and they will be auditing the organizations according to the new requirement. They will verify how the transition has taken place, or whether the transition has actually implemented or not. On the new requirement, how effective the system is, all about the performance of the environmental management system, how they are monitoring, how they are measuring, etc., right? Also how the organization is verifying the meeting or fulfillment of the legal requirement by or other requirement by evaluation of the compliance, right? Also, the auditors will be scrutinizing the operational control measures according to the new requirement. Okay, so this will be the impact on the internal and external audits. Documentation, yes, environmental policy may have to be reviewed, objectives may have to be reviewed, right? So there are the other operational control documents related to operational control measures have to be reviewed. Uh, the legal register, legal and other requirement, that is the compliance register needs to be reviewed, right? And the competence record on the new the training, etc., that needs to be reviewed, right? So how the integrated management system of your organization is going to be affected? You have to align, the organization have to be aligned the new requirement of ISO 14001 with the ISO 9001 and 45001. Anyway, soon you are going to have the new version of the ISO 9001 also released. And as far as today's scenario is concerned, now ISO 14001 is better aligned with the NXSL. NXSL, as you all know, that this is the framework of the structure which has been provided for the or used for the development of the standard, right? So this will the enhanced risk-based thinking will be there. Unified internal audit approach have to be adopted, and also now, the management review meeting have to consider the new requirement of the ISO 14001 also when they are doing the combined, the integrated management system management review meetings. Okay, so your management review meeting have to incorporate the new requirement of the standard also. So to summarize, let me tell you that the nothing has drastically changed in the ISO 14001 2026. It is just an evaluation of the ISO 14001 2015 standard. Nothing no, like a revolutionary changes. Okay, so the changes are very minimal, but yes, strategic changes has been implemented specifically to better align with the requirement of the today's interest of various the standard or various stakeholders. That is to have better aligned with the ESG requirement or sustainability requirement. Okay, so that was the purpose of the change. Okay, so if we have to summarize, yes, 4.1, 4.2, there are changes, and new clauses is there. 6.1.4, that is for the risk and opportunity. 6.3, change management. In clause number 8.1, the requirement of the control of externally provided resources is there. And in the clause number 9.3, the bifurcation has taken place. 6.3, the planning of change has been incorporated. And in clause number 10, there used to be 3 subclauses. Now that has been reduced to 2 subclauses. And one of the important changes in the terminology is that the retain and maintain documented information, that terminology has been changed to available, the document availability is there. Okay, the document shall be available as a documented information, that is the records or any other the documents which are required for the standard that needs to be maintained. Okay, so now we can now thank you everyone for attending this seminar. So we can answer some of the questions through test mode. Thank you, everyone. I can see that there are no further questions. In case of any questions, you may still send across to us. We would be happy to answer all of your questions. Uh, how much time is ideal for this transition? I think since this is not a major change, sooner that would be better. So it is good that nothing much more time should be taken. Maybe hardly 3 or 4 months should be enough. Okay, now let me give you one information so that, okay, as far as competency of the individual is concerned, those who have already, I'm talking in terms of the lead auditors. Like those, if you are already a lead auditor, you did not undergo the lead auditor training program again. You can take a transition course. Of course, that will be, very minimal charges will be there. Okay, so, but yes, uh, there will be some charges. The transition course will be there. And also, if you are not already a lead auditor in ISO, 14001, then it's better you undergo the training, and which we are going to have in the new version. That will be better. Uh, is it having exam? Yes, that will be internal only, very easy exam, not tough as like the lead auditor's training exam. Okay, so how we can schedule it? Yes, you will be informed about the new schedule. Okay, so you can now book for. So when are we going to start? Definitely in the month of July, we will be starting the transition training and also the training on the new version of the standard. Uh, okay, now it depends. One of the question I can see that whether we need to have the management review meeting, internal audit according to the new requirement or not. Uh, it is better even otherwise, since the if the external audit, since if you are going to have the surveillance audit, then you are already certified on ISO 14001 2015. Okay, so if your criteria remains still ISO 14001, then you need not do anything. But okay, but ultimately transition has to take place. Therefore, you have to conduct the internal audit and management review meeting according to the requirement. Okay, Stephen, cost, we have not decided on the cost, but that will be very, very affordable. Okay, date and time of transition course will be informed to you very soon. I think the video will be available on the YouTube channel of the KBS. As far as the certificate for attending this webinar, not very sure. I think Ms. Payal can apply, reply on this. This will be available. This presentation will be available on our YouTube channel. Now, Trishi, we can understand there may be the attendees who had issue with the network. Yes, they can review our the YouTube channel. Yes, this material is available in the YouTube channel, Mr. Stephen. I think there is no more questions. How about 45,000 and 9,001 transition? Yes, I can see that. There is no talk as of today as far as the 45,001 is concerned, but definitely 9,001, the draft version is already released. And by September of this year, you will have a new revised standard of 9,001 for sure. Thank you for all the feedback. Do we have a revised documented version of ISO 14001? Yes, it is already published. So you can buy it from the iso.org website. Okay, Dharmendra was asking, sir, what to be done from our end. As we said, in the practical approach, please do conduct a gap analysis, review your the documentations, review your the policy, review the objectives, adjust your documented informations. So that all needs to be, and also please train get yourself trained on the new standard. Conduct some awareness training in your organizations on new standards. How supplier compliance will be monitored in this scenario? Yes. So this is very important question, as we have seen that the new requirement is there for the externally provided control of the externally provided resources. The organization has to make sure that the suppliers are well aware about the environmental policy, environmental requirement of the organizations. Accordingly, the organization has to make sure that they are following the requirement of the organization itself related to whatever the environmental, the operational control measures have been defined. The supplier also must be following. So the supplier's compliance will be monitored and according to the your environmental policy. Lead auditor course for ISO 14000 and 2026 will be soon starting. I believe that it should be in the month of July itself. Thank you, everyone. I see there are no further questions. New messages. Let me see. Okay, monitoring and measurement as general, what needs to be checked? Yes, the first of all thing, in the monitoring and measurement, whether the organization is meeting the legal and the requirement, environmental objectives, other parameters related to the pollution, pollution control, the diversity, no, the ecosystem or diversity, the losses, everything that's to be monitored. Expected timeline for ISO 9001 2015, yes, September. Yes, we do have the courses related to ESG, that is ISO 14164 GHG, greenhouse gas, the lead verifier courses are there. We are dealing with, as of now, we are dealing with the IRCA. All our courses are no, IRCA approved as far as transition is concerned. Raymond is having a question. I cannot see. Let me see. GSG course will be, yeah, Raymond, you are asking about GSG course. Yes, definitely that will be in the month of July itself. What is the name of the YouTube channel? Can you, Pile, can you please help with this question? What is the name of the YouTube channel? Please put it here.
I will share the link over the chat box.
Okay, okay, fine. So this transition courses will not be for 3 days. It will be for for shorter duration, maximum 2 days. Okay, and that will be CQRK approved. Yes, Mr. Rajiv. Yes, Prince. As we said, you can get the material in the YouTube. Yes, you will get the material in the YouTube. Yes, online. Yes. I think no more questions. Certificate will be CQ. Yes, of course. Certificate will be CQRK approved. The link for YouTube channel, please file. Put it in the chat window. When you will suggest us to take the ISO 14, this is for company or yourself? If it is for training, yes, as I said, sooner the better. Okay, sooner the better. Sooner the better. Okay, Ms. Payal has already now provided the link of the YouTube channel. ISO 9001 version, as I've already told you, that will be in the month of September. The draft version is already released. That will be in the month of September. Okay, thank you everyone. Once again, thank you very much. Okay, our company is having IS management system. What is session to take the transition? I think now, since we are very close to the release of the new standard on ISO 9001, better wait for no, at least till September. Okay, so that you can accommodate the changes in both the standard into your 45,001. Anyway, there is no talk as of going on. The change is concerned. So it is better if you wait for wait till September at least. Is it required GHG 14 applicable? No, it is not required because GHG 14064 is not no like approved. There is no training program approved by CQRK for ISO 14064. Stephen, your question is not clear to me. Which one requires change? There is no as such. See, your question, what changes to be made in the environmental policy? There is no changes as such to be made in the environmental policy, but environmental policy has to, it has to be according to the or taking into consideration the context of the organizations. Okay, now the context of the organization has to be deeper. So therefore, those requirement has to be considered in the environmental policy. As such, there is no change in it. That is the reason when we were looking at the impact clauses, it was in the medium impact. What about the life cycle for the end of product? What control need to be provided? End of cycle. Okay, for example, let us take any product. Okay, so in the designing stage itself, the organization has to adopt such stages, consider such stages. What is the impact this product is going to have after the usage of that particular product is over? Okay, life is over. Whether that product will be recyclable or not. So therefore, in the designing stage itself, the organization should consider that or think about that what material should be used in my product, in our product, so that it will have minimal impact once the life cycle of that particular product is over. Okay, so there, as you know, that there are products which cannot be no decomposed, which cannot be no treated, or which cannot be recycled, right? So organization is going to have such raw material in their product or not, right? So better the organization now consider using those kind of raw material in their product, which can be recycled after the life of that particular product is over. Currently, very soon, as Mr. Stephen asked, currently, what are the standard? Yes, very soon, ISO 9001. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Yes, Raymond is having any question? I think no more questions. Okay, if I have missed any of the yes, as per the new DOS Java, the requirement ESG data must be. Yes, that is you are very true. Yes, we are into this service also. If your organization requires the assurance for reporting of related to ESG data, yes, we are there to support your organizations. Recently, ISO 9001-2015 lead auditor course completed. Is it required to revise any version now? Once the new standard is published, new version is published, yes, you need to undergo the transition course. Yes, Mr. Purushotma, yes. You are correct. I have already answered. Yes, the submission and related details are addressed under new version. Yes, it is more aligned with the ISO 1406 for standard. More aligned. Okay, thank you, everyone. I think my team. So we can close this meeting for now. Thank you, everyone, once again. Bye-bye.